Hey everybody. Hey everybody. This old guy here again. We're gonna go for another little ride, I guess. This be our ride and chat number 4. I was gonna take the motorcycle out, but it's a little warm and I didn't feel like wearing pants. And I'm not gonna wear the dirt bike without pants because the exhaust gets a little hot on my leg if I have shorts on. Not like I'm doing anything crazy that I'm worried about crashing, but you know, I just didn't want to run into that problem. And I forgot my glasses again. Hold on. I'm getting really good about forgetting sunglasses, aren't I? Let's run back up here and grab some sunglasses. Alright, I'll be right back. Well, you'll be walking with me, won't you? Grab our sunglasses. There we go. We got our sunglasses. That's a little bit better. And we'll go for a ride. Don't have any plans on where to go. We're just gonna go for a ride. Make sure no cars are coming. Oh. All right, we're back on our ride now. I did another little video on the side. This is back to the ride and chat with Old Man Dan. This old guy, dang. I am two people living in one head. I'm Old Man Dan and this old guy. So, I kind of have these two entities online. They're one and the same, just, I don't know. I got stuck with this old guy on X, so I just kind of ran with it, and I've been Old Man Dan on YouTube for quite a while. But I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope things are going well for y'all. And we're just taking a ride. We're going to see a little bit more of the countryside. Or a little less. I don't know. I enjoy riding and just doing nothing. Because what else is there to do on a late June day? It's June 28th, the day I'm filming this. I don't know when it goes up. We'll see. Like I said, I was going to ride the motorcycle, but it's a little warm. I didn't want to wear jeans because I have to wear jeans on the motorcycle, not because I'm worried about falling and getting scuffed up. I wear jeans because the exhaust gets a little hot and it burns my leg if I have shorts on. And I've got to turn my head further, there we go. Had to turn my head out of that dust. I didn't want to breathe it off, I didn't have to. But yeah, I'm not riding the motorcycle because I didn't want to have to wear jeans. Although now that I'm out here riding, it's cool enough on the ride, I probably should have taken the motorcycle. Because I'd have been okay in the jeans. It's cool enough. And next time. So, I got another inspection to do. I got to do that tomorrow, which is Monday. Again, don't know what day this is going up. Today is Sunday the 28th. Tomorrow will be Monday the 29th, but who knows? Maybe this goes up on Tuesday the 30th. We'll find out. We have 4th of July coming up, so I hope you're all preparing for 4th of July and you're going to have some fun. Me, I'll probably sit home and do nothing. I need to buy a cheap barbecue just so I can barbecue. Wouldn't mind barbecuing some burgers, some hot dogs, or some brats, or maybe pony up and buy a couple of steaks or some pork chops or something. But, you know, that stuff gets expensive. I don't know if I can afford it. I'm just a poor old man who's struggling for work. Nobody wants to hire me. Nobody wants to give me work. So, we'll see. I know the foreclosures are kicking in. So we'll see if things start to pick up when the foreclosures really start to hit. trying to hook up with as many real estate agents as I can to maybe help them take care of the properties that they have listed. So, you know, going on a weekly basis, do a security check, do a quick little dusting and a spot cleaning, take care of the lawns, and if the lawns need to be mowed or anything. But we'll see how that goes. I'm not really sure what else to offer to do. So I was telling my wife yesterday, you know, I wish we lived in like Colorado still, or Utah, or just one of the states that has national parks or a forestry service, because, you know, I wouldn't mind just applying for a job as like a forest ranger or something, to where basically you jump on the quad. Oh, excuse me, dusty. You jump on the quad, and you have to ride your routine trail ride on a regular basis, just to make sure everything's okay. Check for fallen trees, check for debris, make sure people aren't tearing the trails up, make sure people aren't leaving trash and junking things around. So, but I know those jobs aren't the easiest to get either. A lot of times those jobs either go to people already within government work, or people who have kids that somehow get them in there, because, you know, that's how the government operates. It's very a lot of nepotism, friends, family, you know. Yeah, just look at your politics. If you really deep dive on a lot of your political figures, they're all connected one way or another. Hollywood's the same way. They're all connected one way or another. You start doing deep dive on people in Hollywood. Music industry, same thing. You actually do a deep dive on some of these musical artists and stuff, and you start to go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I thought this person just came out of left field. Wow. Oh, they're related to this person. And then, oh, their uncle's a producer? Oh, well, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, that's how they got their foot in the door. Yep, there you go. Nothing happens by chance. It's just the way of the world, people. It really is. You know, all these young people want to become influencers. When I hear that, I say, do you know how many people that want to become baseball players actually become baseball players? Do you know how many people that want to become actors actually become actors? Do you know how many people that, you know, want to make it in the NFL actually make it into the NFL? It's a very small number. Very small. So when you think about the number of people who are trying to be influencers, they want to be streamers, they want to do streaming for a living, well, same thing there. You're going to get a very, 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 very tiny percentage of people that are successful at it, and a lot of people that make like $100 a month. And so you always got to have a backup plan, people. Have a backup plan. I'm not saying don't try. I'm just saying have a backup plan, because, you know, you'll hear people, no, I'm 100% all in because it's this or nothing. Well, then you're setting yourself up for, you know, potential hard times and sad times. You're setting yourself up for some extreme disappointment if you're not careful. You know, I don't want to see anybody throw their life away when they have other possibilities as well. I'm not saying don't try. I'm just saying have a backup plan. Backup plans are good. But take that for what it is. I'm not going to babble any more about that. I'm going to look at the beautiful countryside. Yeah, I'm going to slow down so I don't ride off into the ditch while I'm looking. It's beautiful over there. Looks nice. Looks nice over here too. Soybeans. And we're down the road. Got a couple of nice properties here. Is there one or two houses here? I think there's two. Yep. One there, one here. All right. See? Very nice. Look at that. Just countryside as far as you can see. So nice out here. as I try to drift off into the side. Almost fell in that ditch over there. We don't want to do that. I better stay more in the middle of the road. But I kind of don't want to do that either, because what if a car comes along? Soybeans, corn, lots of corn. Occasionally you see some deer. They like to go in and eat the corn. I occasionally, well, last year, I probably won't this year because we don't have corn around us, but last year I was finding corn cobs in my yard all the time. Now I'm not sure if the deer were dropping them or the squirrels. I have a feeling the squirrels were doing it sometimes, because we got a lot of squirrels in the trees by my house. Well, by the house I live in. I say my house, but you know, not my house. It's the house I live in. I want it to be my house, but he's never going to sell it to me, so I got to find another place to make my house. I'm going to slow down here because I just love these rolling hills right through here. That is so beautiful over there. Got those rolling hills, all that green belt. You got the corn here, and you just got those green rolling hills right there, and then you got some corn on the other side, and then you got some green rolling hills behind it. Got a bunch of green rolling hills over there. Yeah. Got this corner lot here. So nice out here. I should have rode the motorcycle. Oh well. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes you don't do something, you end up regretting it. See, that gate's open. I'd love to just go ride through there, but it's not my land. I don't want to do that. So since it's not my land, I'm not going to do that. But I'd like to. It would be fun. I'm going to go this way. So, I'm not sure what you all think about the rambling of this old man that's just riding his ATV out on the country roads and babbling. But, you know, once again, comments down below. Don't hold back. Tell me what you think. I don't mind. I can take it. I've heard it all. I've been called everything in the book. I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Because basically you have to have feelings for feelings to be hurt. And I don't have any feelings. I don't care. I'm just one of those guys that goes through life that just really doesn't care. My mom always said that. She said, you know, son, I don't think you'll ever die of a heart attack. I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, because you just don't care. I go, what do you mean? She goes, you don't seem to care about anything. So that means I don't think you're ever going to be stressed about anything, and you'll probably never die of a heart attack because nothing bothers you. I go, well, life is what it is, Mom. And it has its ups and downs, and it kicks you. And, you know, you just got to pick up the pieces and move forward again. She said, she told me, I really admire that in you, son. But, you know, my parents didn't give me a lot. They really didn't. They didn't have much. I can't hold that against them. They didn't have much. I grew up poor. My parents were poor. They were both from Kansas. We lived in Southern California. My dad worked for a uniform company, you know, delivering uniforms and dust mops and mats and things like that. And my mom ended up, you know, she ended up working for child care, Head Start in California. She was a big part of that, but she didn't make a lot of money. She died at 54. She was young. My dad died a few years ago. I can't even remember how old my dad was now. I want to say he was 86, but I'm not sure. I don't know if he's quite that old. He might have been. But, you know, the only thing he instilled in us kids was you can always go out and hustle a buck if you need to. You know, again, my dad wasn't perfect. He had his problems, but we never went hungry. There was always food on the table. We may not have had all the amenities that a lot of other people had. We didn't get to live the lives that other people did, but that was okay. It's not about how much money you have. You know, always had a bicycle, so I could just go out riding with my friends, and that was my getaway. That's why I'm so big on kids getting outdoors and hanging out with their friends. And you know, we used to explore areas. I mean, you know, we'd ride 5, 10, 15, 20 miles from the house sometimes. I mean, I lived in Buena Park, California, and it was 16 miles to Huntington Beach, and me and my friends would jump on our bicycles and ride to the beach. We'd ride straight down Highway 39, and we'd ride all the way to the beach, hang out at the beach all day, hang out at Huntington Beach, and then ride our bicycles back home. How many kids do that today? I don't think many. I really don't. So, you know, we'd ride all over the place looking for trails to ride, or looking for empty fields where we could build trails, build some dirt jumps, and you know, build our own little private BMX track that would last for about, I don't know, 2-3 months until somebody realized it was there and then came through and plowed it down. We used to ride up to the Shell oil fields in Fullerton, and used to ride through there all the time on our bicycles. There were a bunch of trails up there we could ride. It was fun. For the most part, I had a good childhood. While I didn't have a lot, I had freedom. You know, the analogy that you hear is true. We used to leave the house early in the morning, and we didn't come home until the streetlights came on. And our parents had no idea where we were. We were just gone. And I know the world's changed, I guess. You know, people worry too much someone's going to steal your kid now. You don't want your kids getting too far away from home, because, you know, the world's a dangerous place. I don't know if it's any more dangerous today than it was when I was a kid. Some people will say yes. Or is it just more sensationalized now because of 24/7 news media and you hear about it more? I don't know. I mean, we might have been playing with fire when I was a kid, you know? Maybe we were just living on borrowed time and it just never caught up with us. I don't know. But we came out of it. We survived. And I think because we came out of it the way we did, we learned how to survive. We learned how to not let things get to us. We learned how to take a lot of things in stride. I'm talking about Gen X here. We're not soft. Well, not all of us. And a lot of us just don't give a damn. So we stay out of other people's business for the most part. You know, we would stand up for our friends, but we also knew when to walk away from situations either. We knew when it was better to just turn and go the other way than to get into a confrontation. There's no reason to. Sometimes you're better off just walking away. And maybe that's why we survive. I don't know. There were no neighborhoods I was afraid to go into. There were no places I wasn't afraid to go. I just kind of knew how to conduct myself when I went into certain areas. You know, I grew up in Southern California during the days of the Bloods and the Crips, and the highlight of the Hispanic gangs. And we would go through their neighborhoods getting somewhere, but we knew not to do stupid shit. We knew just to go through and be on our merry way, stay out of their business, and they pretty much stayed out of ours. That's how it was. I knew a lot of gang members growing up, and we were friends in school settings, and we were friends in other social settings, but I knew when to not go where they were going, and they understood that, and they appreciated that. They knew that I wasn't going to get into their business, and they were cool with that, and I was cool with it. It's like, you know, I had some friends that got shot. I had some friends that died, and it was sad. But I knew not to be where they were going to be where those things happened. I knew to make sure I didn't put myself in the situation to get caught in crossfire, be an innocent bystander, or just recklessly get wrapped up in their business. So, yeah. Now, we did have some school shootings in front of my high school, a couple of them. I mean, you know, we had shootouts in front of my high school. But again, they happened. Everybody didn't go to counseling. Everybody didn't moan and whine and say that they were traumatized. We all came back to school the next day and went about education. Yeah. Never been up this far. Nice out here. It's a nice little cemetery. Yeah. A lot more country just out here. Look at all the trees and everything. Got a house down there by the little pond. Got another one there. Nice house here. Yeah, nice out here. So, yeah. Alright, we're going to head back. Once again, I don't know if my talks are boring or what. So, let's move on to a new subject. We talked about my childhood. Talked about all that stuff I just talked about. Since we stopped and turned around and head back home, now what should we talk about? I think people are getting tired of me talking about my charity and my charitable efforts. I'm not sure. Are you? Are you tired of that? Or should I talk about it, you know? If you're interested in it, go to printfamily.org. There'll be links there. You know, again, I want to build this rec center. I need support. I need financial support. We need money. There. Let's just be point blank. I need money. I'm taking care of my personal stuff that I got to get paid off. So I need money for this. Because this isn't for me, per se. This is for the kids. This is for a community. This is to give future generations a place to have, a place to go, a place to congregate and build relationships. So, looking at about $40,000 to buy a piece of land. That's just for the rec center. And then we're looking probably, I don't know, I mean, I've been doing some figures. I can probably do it for as little as $250. But realistically, I would think $500,000 is a more rational number. A $500,000 number would actually, I think, leave money aside to run it for a year or two on top of that. And that's kind of, you know, it's one thing, you know, if you build it and then you have no money to run it, what are you going to do? But again, everything can be done in stages. $35,000 to $40,000, buy the land. $100,000 to $150,000, erect a building. Another $100,000 to $125,000, build the pump track park and erect a building. Another $100,000, complete the interior of the building and buy the amenities we need to have inside the building. So again, you know, or 125 for all that. So yeah, we're at about 250. Then we're going to need probably about $10,000 a month as operating capital. But that's where something like, I think, Patreon can come in, or just local businesses that maybe want to support and supply, and you know, or large corporate building wants to put their logo on the building. You know what? You want me to name the building after you? Let's sit down and talk. Like I said, this place doesn't have to be named after me. I just need to make sure that me and my son own and control it. But somebody else wants to pay to put their name on it, I don't care. That's how things work. That's how the world works, you know, sponsorship. But I also, you know, I was thinking, if you get enough Patreon donations, you know, you get 2,500 people willing to donate $5 a month on Patreon. You've got your operating capital. You've got your financing. You've got your funding that you can fund this place on a monthly basis, no problem. You know, and it's $5. It's $5 to somebody. But you know, 5,000 times a couple of thousand. I mean, $5 times a couple of thousands. That adds up. That pays for stuff. That pays to keep the lights on. That pays to buy what needs to be in the facility. That pays for staffing. Because, you know, again, I want this to be my life's work, so I'll work cheap. I'm not, you know, but I got to be able to pay my bills. So, but rather than pay somebody else, you know, $50,000 a year to run it, I'd rather, you know, let's be honest, I'd rather pay myself that, and then, you know, I'll work my ass off. I'll work 60 hours a week, so you're getting me damn cheap. Again, I'm a straight shooter. I tell it like it is. I don't try to sugarcoat things, and I don't try to pull wool over anybody's eyes. I just like to be honest. I like to lay it all on the table and tell you where we're at. Okay, so that's where we're at with that. Now, if you don't want to help me, I understand. That's perfectly fine. So if you don't want to help me, that's cool. But if you don't want to help me, and you do want to do something charitable, my website, primfamily.org, has some charitable entities on there that we support. I highly suggest supporting one of them. So we've got St. Jude's, I think we got Shriners, we got Children's Hospital, and we've got Autism Awareness on there. Or Autism Speaks, I can't remember. Something. See, I need to go look at it. I'm getting old. I'm getting senile. I forget things. But yeah, I'm perfectly fine if you don't want to do anything charitable and help me. But, you know, do try to help those that are less fortunate. Do try to help those entities that help kids, which is one of the reasons that I donate and I support Shriners, Chalk, and St. Jude's, is because of all the things they do for children. The cancer research, the cancer treatment, the scoliosis treatment, the scoliosis operations like my son got. They do these things free of charge. And these aren't cheap. My son's operation for his scoliosis was upwards of, I believe, $175,000 for the amount of work, the follow-up, you know, the pre-visits, the follow-up visits, the surgery itself. You know, you're looking at $175,000. So these organizations pay for that. They give children a new lease on life. If we hadn't gotten my son his scoliosis treatment, his surgery, his life would have been limited. He wouldn't be living the life he has now. He would be in constant pain, and he would be slowly developing organ failure, because his scoliosis was so bad that one of his lungs was only working at about 80% because it was starting to be squashed. Sooner or later, his liver would have started to be impacted, and his heart would have started to be impacted, and at some point he would have started to have organ failure. And that's why we did it. That's why I gave up everything I had to make sure my son was taken care of. I don't care. I go to the poorhouse for the rest of my life to make sure my son's good. He has to have a life. I've lived my life. I could die tomorrow as long as I know my son's taken care of. As long as I know my son's going to have a good life ahead of him, or at least have good opportunities ahead of him. I can die tomorrow a happy man. I don't care. I did my job. I took care of him, and I made sure I did everything I could to give him a future, and that's all that matters to me. And for any parent, that's all that matters. So if you're young, you know, hopefully you have parents that are saying, I know not all parents. I'm not a saint. Look, I'm not a saint. I have my flaws. I haven't been a perfect parent in my life. I've got another son that hates me, never wants to speak to me again. That's partially due to his mom, and I'll take some blame, but not all of it. I reached out, I tried, I did my part, but you know, evidently he never wants to see me again, and that is what it is. So I wasn't a perfect parent, but with my son that is with me, I wasn't a perfect parent. I just did my best, and my best meant giving up everything I had to give up for him. So I did. And maybe I didn't do that in my first marriage with my first son. Maybe I was a little more selfish back then, but that's behind me. I can't change it now. I did what I could to make amends. There wasn't enough, and life goes on. That's too much about me personally. But again, so if you have parents that have sacrificed for you, thank them. If they're still alive, thank them. Tell them how much you appreciate what they did. Again, I'm not trying to get pats on the back for what I did. I'm just telling you that my son thanks me all the time for moving back here so he could go to high school with all of his friends and graduate, for getting him his surgery to make sure he lives a better life, for making sure he gets to go to all the school events he wants to go to, you know, for doing what we can for him. You know, me and my wife both. My wife is the one that usually goes to all the school events, the football games, the soccer games, the wrestling matches, the basketball games. She does that with him. I blew that light, stop sign. I mean, glad no car was coming. So she does all that with him. I do the other things. I don't want to say I do the hard things, because those are hard things too. I do the things that dad should do. I keep him in line. I remind him that he's a good kid when he gets down on himself, because of his autism, and he forgets things, and he takes too long to do things, and he gets really hard on himself, and I have to remind him what a good kid he is. I have to remind him what a blessing he is, and tell him to not be so hard on himself, and that life is a journey, and to take it one day at a time, and that just because you weren't able to be on track today, and to remember to get it done today, and you forgot and you took too long, it's okay. Just work one step harder tomorrow to make it a little bit better. And because I need for him to stay positive. I see too many kids get negative on their lives. I read too many horror stories about kids that are depressed, and no child should be depressed. No child should have any reason to be depressed. They really shouldn't. As parents, we need to do everything we can to make sure that our children don't have to go through things that make them depressed, and that we shield them from the horrors of life that would depress the normal person, because their young brains, their young emotional status isn't prepared for some of the horrors of adult life. So let's stop throwing them into adult life situations, and let's stop introducing them and having them have to engage with adult life situations. Let's shield them from that as long as we can. Let them be young. Let them be kids. Let them be happy. Because one day adult life will hit them, and hopefully you did your job and you prepared them for that. So when the horrors of some parts of adult life hit them, they'll be more well adjusted for it, and they won't go down a path of depression. You know, again, I don't like to get political on here, so I stay out of politics, but I don't believe in participation trophies. We don't hand you out a trophy just because you showed up. You don't get a trophy just for showing up. I'm sorry, you don't. You came in 4th place. That's okay, you did your best. I'm proud of you. No, it's okay. Yes, they got a trophy because, you know, they got on the podium. It's okay. But, you know, try harder next time, and don't worry about it. Did you have fun? I always ask my son when he's upset about not winning something, I go, did you have fun? He goes, oh yeah, I had a lot of fun. I go, then what do you care if you won for? Why does it matter if you won if you had fun? Did you enjoy it? Did you and your friends have fun doing it? Yes, we had a lot of fun, but we didn't win. So, who cares? The main goal was you had fun. That's what it's about. You don't have to be a winner every time. Take it as a learning experience. Maybe work a little bit harder last time. Well, you know, if you're upset that you lost, ask yourself, why did you lose? You know, like at bowling. Well, did you guys lose because you missed a couple of spares, and those couple of spares were the difference between winning and losing? Because if so, then just work on your game a little bit more and work a little bit harder to get a little bit better and hone your skills. But again, don't worry about it too much, because there's always going to be somebody better than you. There's always going to be somebody better at what you do than you are. So do your best and have fun. And don't worry about it if you didn't win. Worry about it if you had fun. If you had fun, you're a winner. You won because you had fun. Not because you got a trophy. Not because you got a placard. Not because you got a ribbon. You won because you had fun. And we need to teach all of our kids that. All of our kids need to understand that. Growing up riding BMX and doing it as a personal enjoyment thing, because once again, I don't care. I never felt the pressures to be competitive at it. I just rode with my friends. I had a lot of friends that went pro. I had a lot of friends that did really well, that were BMX freestyle riders, BMX racers. Some went on to be motocross riders and other things. I didn't. Why? Because I wasn't competitive. I wasn't competitive because I wasn't good. I wasn't competitive because I didn't care. I had fun. I wasn't trying to hone every trick so that I could win the next competition. I went out and honed the tricks I enjoyed to have fun. I wasn't worried about, am I going to make a living doing this? I wasn't worried about, am I going to win this competition? I didn't even enter most competitions. My friends did. I just had fun. I didn't care. You know, it's one of those things. I remember being at the Pipeline Skate Park in Upland, California, and I was there with my buddy Brian Blyther, Brad Warden, and Richard Kidd. And I showed up on my 24-inch BMX Cruiser, and I'm riding the whole pipe bowl, and I'm just having a blast, and I'm just doing what I'm thinking is nothing. And Brian comes up to me, and he's all, damn man, he's all, you're doing fence high airs on your Cruiser right now. I go, no I'm not. I go, I'm like 2 feet out. He goes, no, He goes, you're over the fence. I didn't know, because I didn't care. I was having fun. You know? He's all, why aren't you competing? Why aren't you coming out here and joining the contest? Why aren't you, you know? He's all, at least come out and compete and have fun. I go, I have fun, Brian. I'm not worried about it, you know? I'd do my 360 flyouts. I'd roll in on the hip. I'd do my little fly out at the end of the bowl and drop straight back in, which only a handful of the pros would even do. You know, I'd get well over vert inside the hole pipe. You know, I'd get as high in the hole pipe as the pros did. But there were certain tricks I just didn't want to learn, didn't care to learn. So I knew I wasn't going to be competitive if I didn't practice those tricks. And it wasn't because I didn't think I could do them. It's just, I have more fun doing this. I have more fun carving the bowl, finding new lines, trying to jump over the fence, ragdolled myself a couple times, trying to jump over the 5-foot high fence, flying out of the 12-foot deep bowl and trying to make it over the fence, and I ragdolled on it and broke some ribs, but it was fun. But, you know, again, I wasn't competitive, not because I probably couldn't have been competitive. I wasn't competitive because I didn't want to be. I had fun. So let's have fun in life. And let's teach our kids to have fun in life. And holy shit, what a ramble that just was. I'm going to leave it in. Some people will get something out of it. Most people will probably skip it. Most people probably don't even get to this part of the video. But I'm back home, and I had a fun ride. Hopefully you had a fun ride with me, and I'll catch you guys all later. So, and oh, people are home. I didn't think they'd be home. I'll catch you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.